Assalamualaikum. This is Farhan Jamil and I am the founder of Saif Trainings. And today we are in Lahore Garrison University. And with me today is a person who is a dean, who is a doctor and plus a colonel, Muhammad Amjad Khan. So today we are going to talk about the career skills. What are the skills that are really related or concerned or really needed in a career when a student passes his degree, when he gets that. So today we are going to talk about that. How are you, sir?
Oh, first of all, thank you very much. I'm very fine. And I thank you and your organization for giving me an opportunity to talk to you people and give my views on today's topic.
So, player, it's all our. It's really an honor for us that you gave us your time today. Alright, sir. So, moving on toward the topic, as I mentioned earlier, the topic is going to be about the career skills. So, what do you think are the skills that are really needed in a career? A student should have that before he jumps into the career.
All the students studying and qualifying in different disciplines, maybe at secondary level, at graduate level, undergraduate level, postgraduate level, or even at doctorate level. In the time to come, they have to join different fields of life.
Okay.
And then they have to serve the nation.
Yeah.
So, principally, what I feel, the skills that you require for your career are basically dependent on the skills that you have already got, even by birth. The things which you learn from your family, from your siblings, parents, the hostel where you live.
True.
And then the sort of teacher, the sort of experience you get from your teachers and from your institutions, and broadly speaking from your environment. Now a student passing out from a particular institution, from a Harvard or from a Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, or from University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, he will come out having different skills. Though all organizations, they try their level best to build essential skills for their future careers. But still, once we survey the market and we ask their opinion, and they will always claim that there is a large gap. The skills which are required in the market and the skills which the students have got.
Yeah.
So this is, a reality we are facing.
Yeah, true. So, your perception is that skills that a student must have, that depends on the field he is in. And secondly, it usually happens when a student completes his degree and he goes for the job, salary the organizations are offering to that student is of course not satisfied with that. Let's consider 20,000, 30,000. That is a very normal salary that we offer to the master degree holder in Pakistan. But if student is not satisfied with that, we agree with it. However, organization knows it. If I hire this person on a higher salary, this would be the loss for the organization. He doesn't know the market experience. He doesn't have that. He doesn't know he's not polished the way he should be. He has already spent so many years in the universities, in the colleges, schools and all. He has spent a lot of time over there. Why do we still find this gap over there?
Look, what the organizations looking for? They are looking for the managing skills.
Yeah.
They are looking for the entrepreneur skills. They are looking for the analytical skills. And more importantly, the resilience skills. How to deal with the tense situations, hard situations. Now, our education system must have the essential teaching elements which should cover all these things. Most of the time, the professional competency is gauged about the core subjects, and these skills are not taught. And for that purpose, the students then they have to go to different organization or to develop these skills.
Yeah.
Now, it is imperative on us, especially the higher education institutions, that apart from the personality development, character building, and the teaching of core subjects, we should also develop these essential skills which I have narrated, so that a student, after passing out, must be able to serve the nation.
True.
And for that purpose, the education institutions, what I feel, they have to incorporate certain things in the syllabi. And the Higher Education Commission too should facilitate the institutions, so that these traits which I have narrated, they should be built in the students before passing out. And here at LGU, we are striving to impart all these skills to our students. And even our teaching methodology is of type that we try to develop curiosity in the students.
Great.
We try to develop, resolve certain issues through challenging exercises.
Great.
And so on. I give you a simple example. When any of the teacher of my university is undertaking a class, whether on campus or it is online, how we start our class, whether it is MPhil level or undergrad level. First of all, we give a slight preamble of the previous lecture. What they have been taught in the last lecture, we just give in 2-3 minutes the revision of that. And if any query the student has got, we will address that query.
Great.
And then the next step is that we tell them the outcomes of, learning outcomes of today's lecture, what they are going to learn in the next 40 to 60 minutes. And in the third step, then we ask them formally, are you ready? And if you will see right, left, and if somebody is lethargic or not interested, we make him to make interest in the lecture.
Great.
And then we, within 5, 7 or 10 minutes maximum, we talk about the core contents of the lecture or the subject. And then immediately we put them with a video demonstration. And you can find the videos on YouTube and many other websites.
Alright.
And we have already available in hand. We prepared our lesson plans well in hand, so that it should be available. And after video demonstration, you see the concepts of the students are so much clear.
Yeah, true.
And after video demonstration, straight away we go for the question answer session.
Great.
And the maximum time is allocated for this section,
That's wonderful.
the question answer session. And once we finish with the question answer session, and you see, we always encourage students to ask any type of question. If a student is asking you some question which to you is a stupid question, please don't take it as a stupid question. You accept it
It should
and
be very
you
well
reply
answered.
it. And this after question answer session, then we give them a challenging exercise. And we ask them, what did you learn from each and every student? And after that, we just tell them something about their next day's lecture, so that they should come prepared. And side by side, we give them the home assignment. And lastly, we share with them the references from where the contents of this lecture have been made, so that they should have approached there. Now, the purpose of sharing this thing with you was that there are so many skills which we try to develop through our this teaching methodology, which I believe will be helpful in their future life, in their future career.
Yeah, inshallah.
And this is only the theoretical portion. Then lot of
Practical.
lot of things are related to the research. Because the students, after completing their MPhil degree or doctoral study, their nature of employment is different, and they have different skills which are required in the market.
Okay.
So, coming over to your basic questions, that how these skills are essential and what the market is looking for and why there is a gap. The gap is because once we don't analyze the market, the industry academia linkage is very poor. We don't know what are the actual problems of our industry, and neither the industry share with you. So the need is that all the problems faced by the industry, they should be shared with the academia.
Yeah.
And academia should organize the researches which are focused towards the resolving of these problems.
All right.
And it can be done centrally even by the HEC, that they can collect the data and then they can share it with the academia. And unfortunately, most of the products used in our country, they are imported because they are cheap. And if we try to prepare here, they are little more, expensive. That's why industry is not ready to listen you. So, but if the problems are there and these are shared with the academia, some solution can be found.
Yeah, true.
It's like that.
All right, sir. After listening to you, there are 5 to 6 questions that I
Oh,
want
yeah,
to ask
please,
to you.
please go
Number
for
one, just as you were mentioning that these all are the skills that you are managing within one class. Now, my first question is, what is the duration of one class? Is it the 60-minute, the way you mentioned earlier? Or
Yeah, we have two types of classes, 60 minutes duration and 90 minutes duration also. And then we have got a lab portion of, especially in the basic sciences. We have the lab portion where we try to equip our students with the psychomotor learning.
Great.
That is practical. But, even the other institutions like medical colleges or engineering universities or other institutions, they where they have got the specific fields for their passed out students. So they have to develop certain skills relevant to their profession. For example, in medical sciences, you may find a very good vascular surgeon who is doing surgery of the blood vessels, a very minute thing, or a doctor doing surgery of the heart or the brain. But at the same time, you see, we have to see how good he is in behavioral sciences.
That's more important.
How he can, how he talks and counsels his patients, because that is very important. Apart from the professional skills, he or she must know all these things. This is one example I am telling you. So, the lacking skills are identified. Once basically you join some career, you go there, and then somebody there in the executive should find out. And if you say that all the employees searching for the new candidates with the mission that they will be having all those skills, I think is not genuine requirement. But you see, the Pakistan Army. I served in Pakistan Army for about 27 years.
Great.
I was taken in a raw shape, just 22 years of age, having a Doctor of Vet Medicine degree. And with the passage of time, the Army organization developed my personality and built my character also and career also. Garnished my personality with the esteemed rank of a colonel. This was the result of a continual a training system, a continual training system in any organization. So they develop you for, sorry, the assigned job. They impart you all types of training, and then they can get best out of you. So this the same way, the other organization, whether it is Pakistan Railway, the education, or any other health sector or any other private sector, they should have a continual training program.
True.
And you see, you you phase wise add the quality in your employees. But I am not of the opinion that everybody looking for new employment should see that all these essential skills should be possessed by a candidate. You see, you take a person in a raw shape, develop these skills there in your organization. That will be more beneficial and a lasting member of your team. Yes, we talk many things about communication skills, the entrepreneur skills, the flank quality,
Yeah, so
flank
many,
quality. Fine, that's fine. But you will hardly find any, candidate fulfilling all these requirements.
True.
Yes, there is no shortcut in it. That's why you feel that the firing of employees rate in the organization is much more, because ad hoc arrangements are made. For permanent, sustainable, and you have to adopt the thing which I have stated to you.
All right, that's great. Sir, I must appreciate and I must accept that each and every word that you're giving me right now is like an ocean. And I don't know why I'm coming up with so many questions. So this time I'm going to turn the table.
Oh yeah, please.
I'm going to ask you 5 to 6 questions that I have a pile of those questions in my mind right now, so you can answer it the way you want it. My first question was, the way you said the duration is 60-minute to 90-minute. Is it really productive to manage all these skills, all these things in one class? The way you said, we start with the revision, number one, then we go to the lecture, then we go for the question answer session, and then we also tell them what exactly we're going to do tomorrow, and question answer session is the biggest part. Is it really productive? Number one question. And I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you a few more questions as well. Number two, you said that, there is a gap between the skills that a student must have before entering into the career, and people who are the employers, who are the industries, or might be running these businesses and all, they do not share those skills with the universities, with the education system. Now my question is, who is responsible for that? Is it the university who should jump into more industries and ask them, pinch them to give those skills, share those skills with us, and we can train the student according to that? Is it the business itself? Or is it the government? Who should take this responsibility? Because at the end, the student is the one who is suffering.
Yeah, you are correct. Look, the skills are essential.
True.
As you have talked. The policy makers are responsible, whatsoever you have said. But I share with you good news. The Higher Education Commission has recently, they have revised their undergraduate education policy.
Great.
The first thing, before we move on this, I share with you the timings of the class, and each and every program which we offer in this university, or even the other universities are offering, they have got the program mission, the program vision, and the program objectives.
True.
And even the program outcomes. Basing on that, all that mission, objectives and outcomes, the duration of the class, the contents of the syllabus, and all other things are formulated so that we can achieve all those objectives.
All right.
Yes,
Understandable.
there is a need that we should add something which is related to the development of the skills, essential skills, because most of the time the professional matters, the professional things related to the subject are addressed more, and these things are addressed less. The policy which I was sharing with
Which was
you
good
about
news as
the
well.
Higher Education Commission, that they have formulated the new education policy, where they have made it essential for each and every student graduating, whether it is doing BS Literature, Economics, Social Sciences, Natural Sciences, Mathematics, Arts and Humanities, any subject, the student before passing out has to go for internship. All right. Now for basic sciences, you see there are different laboratories, there are different hospitals, there are different, organizations related to biological sciences. They can go there. But what about a person doing economics or English literature or Islamic studies? Now the HEC wants that all of them, they should go into their relevant fields, industry or institutions. So for example, if a person is doing some BS in literature, he may join some organization of electronic media or print media and learn the things on ground and try to develop the skills over there.
Good.
And how we will ensure it? By proper monitoring of the university, the supervisor, the coordinator who has been detailed with that student. So this is a good thing. What was earlier it was an elective thing. The internship was an elective thing.
Yeah.
Either you can go for research, you can study two of the papers, subjects, or you can go for internship.
Yeah.
Now, the research or study of two subjects is there, but this internship has become an integral and essential part.
That's great. That's mandatory.
Yes. Now, look, I have just calculated that alone in Lahore and its suburbs, almost every year we are producing more than 100,000 graduates
Yeah, true.
from the universities. Can our industry absorb such a number of students for
Of course
internship
not.
every year?
Of course not.
So once we have make it compulsory, we should know all these things.
Yeah, true.
Got my point?
Yeah.
Good news and point of concern, both I have shared with you.
Yeah, that's great.
See, yeah.
Wonderful.
So, how we can manage it now? We should not only pose the problems, na?
Yeah,
we should come up
also talk about the
with
solutions. Yeah,
solutions.
that
na?
side is also there. True.
All the private organizations, private entrepreneurs, say for example, a small vet clinic, a small dental clinic, a big, grocery store, they can be placed. They can be, taken as internship places.
Yeah, true. And we would
A
have to.
private
yeah.
farm, a small farm, these we have to. And for that purpose, the universities, they have to make their tentacles. And one more thing can be done. You see, if we talk about the King Edward Medical College, some teaching hospital would be there. So, for example, Mayo Hospital is with them. So, all these students, they get their practical
Exactly,
experience
over there.
Now, in the higher education institutions, the practical learning is only in their labs, which are again culminating towards professional competency. But for market, these skills are required. They will only come once some industry, some sort of organization is affiliated with that higher education institution. For example, there are so many industries, in the near vicinity of Lahore, in Sundar State or Sheikhupura, or you see, in these areas. These industries, they should be affiliated with different higher education institution for the development of those skills which are required over there. And then, by no means, the organization like yours or other organizations which enroll the students and try to develop all those skills in them so that they should be able to join the market with confidence.
Yeah, true.
This is all.
I mean, there is also the need of this.
Yes.
All right, sir. Coming back to the same point you said earlier, and one more question was, pending from that thing. Now, the way you said that when you went to the Pakistan Army, there was a proper procedure to hire you. I mean, of course, there was a training, different sort of test. I mean, medical test and IQ test, and then other fitness test and all. Based on that, I mean, how do you see the teachers in Pakistan? I mean, I'm not talking specifically about the universities. I'm not talking about colleges because there is a proper criteria being set by the HEC. When we talk about the school teacher, I mean, you must have seen that the biggest injustice is being done in the school, because I mean, in every street we find a school, not the university, not the college, of course. So schools are in every street of this country, of this city specifically, and we must have seen that teachers. I mean, are they really capable of teaching? Is it only the salary we attract them to come to this job, or do they also have the skills? And just as, I mean, in Pakistan Army, if they want to hire someone, there is a proper criteria to hire a person, and we train them, and after that he is eligible to become the army person. Do we have any sort of methodology to hire a school teacher, or might be a professor? What's your opinion about that?
Sorry. Teacher, is the most important. You see, the commodity which should be loved, which should be respected.
They are the nation builders.
Not only in this country, everywhere.
True.
ठीक है ना?
They are doing the most for the nation, for every nation. True.
What was our holy prophet? He was a teacher.
Yeah, true. It's a noble profession.
He was a teacher, The thing is that, as I shared with you, the undergraduate education policy, the same way we should develop some policy at secondary school level.
Yeah, true.
All right, where this policy can be dovetailed with that. Similarly, for the vernacular or the primary education. And first of all, as our PM, present PM says time and again, that each and every child must go to school. Do we have that number of schools? You are talking about the teachers.
Yeah.
You are talking about the teachers. First of all, are we importing the primary education to each and every child of this country? Certainly not. We are a poor country, we are a poor nation, but we have to work very hard. At times, once I see the SDGs set for the next 10 or 20, 30 years, where we are going, are we going to achieve all those standards or not? No. The teacher, it's not a matter of salary. It should be secondary.
Yeah.
The best person who has the aptitude to teach, that must be selected.
True.
A teacher who has the passion, that should be selected. You see, you go to Sindh province, you go to KPK, even in remote areas of Punjab, and the teacher even don't come. You might have heard about the ghost schools.
Schools, yeah. And the ghost professor schools.
We have to work hard. Yes, you very rightly said. The quality of the teacher at any level, at higher education, secondary level or primary level, top of the line. And a person who has got a passion, and you would find so many. Look, I was serving in army. So many officers in army, they retired as a colonel, and they live happily, do nothing. But once I was a veterinarian at the time of joining army, and then I did my MPhil from Quaid-e-Azam University, and my department selected me and sent me over there. And once I was posted at a formation headquarters at Lahore, I got an opportunity to complete my PhD here. And my department facilitated me in all this. That's why I could achieve this education. Now, the point. I had a passion for that, I had a passion for higher education. I did my MPhil in reproductive physiology. I did my PhD in zoology. I further broadened my field. But anybody can do it. But for that purpose, you need a passion for that.
Yeah.
And the moment I got retired, I met my passion. I was selected as a faculty member in Lahore Girijin University. And since 2016, I am here and presently doing as dean. So it's all your passion. The teacher, yes, you said the teacher must be a person who should be top ranked, top paid. But from where? We have to see our pocket also. We have to see our treasure also. It's a time where we have to sacrifice for those who have to come for our next generations. But, truly speaking, a teacher, at the same time, the persons of law enforcement agencies, the police, it should be top respected.
True.
What is the level of respect of police officers and police constables in our country? And you compare it with the foreigners. Sheriff outside, he is the boss of that community where he is serving. So, it's not only here in Pakistan. Countries where the things are developing in terms of education, in terms of industry, in terms of so many other things. These nations, it will take little time, and whosoever will be sincere. But teachers, while selecting the teachers, what we are doing now is that we are seeing what are their education standards, what sort of research they have gone through, whether they possess the skills to deliver the lectures and communication and so many other things. But at the same time, the most important thing is that we should try to find out whether they have got passion for this service or not. And then, we should select the teachers.
Yeah. Sir, I once heard a quotation that if you cannot fly, then run. And if you cannot run, then walk. And if you cannot walk, then crawl. But keep moving.
Yes.
And I'm happy to listen to your answer that at least we are moving, alhamdulillah. But now, sir, there is another perspective, which is also the dilemma that in Pakistan, to be specific, the education business is growing rapidly. It's becoming the best business. But teaching profession is going down day by day. I don't want to say that, but this is also the bit reality, that we have in the society. Now, my question from you is that what do you think that what skills teachers should adopt? Because we have to train the teachers as well. Teacher is that funnel through which we are going to give all these or throw all these skills to the students, and it's so difficult, just as Prime Minister Imran Khan is saying, that every single child should be going to school.
Yeah.
Now, it's very difficult to take every single individual and teach the skills which are highly needed the way we are talking about, but it's easy. The easy way is to train your teachers. What do you think, what skills and trainings must be provided for the teachers by the institutions, and what should be the responsibility of the teacher himself, that he or she should be doing that?
Yeah, each and every university should have a teaching training program.
All right.
Not only at secondary level, only at higher education level, at university level. What we are doing here in this university, which can be a model for others also, that during the summer semester, once most of the teachers, they are free. They are only dealing with their research students or they are preparing for the next semester. We have scheduled a faculty development program over there.
That's wonderful, sir.
And what we need to do in this faculty development is that we would try to inculcate certain skills which are job related, which can facilitate them in teaching. We are going to make them conversant with the different teaching methodologies. We would be asking them to identify different weak students at the start of the semester, so that they can give more time and something like that. Then we are going to teach them how to behave with the students, how to behave with the bad students, how to combat with the stress, how to combat with the different situations, how to be, fair in grading, how you should be fair towards discharge of your duties. A teacher sole duty is that he should take the children as a very precious commodity, because they are meeting a very noble cause.
Yeah, true.
And the skills, the teachers don't require so many skills. As I have told you, what is their product? Their product is a student passed out with a balanced professional education, best possible education, coupled with the essential skills, and making an alumni which should uplift the name of your organization in the times to come.
True.
So, for teachers, a teacher is never a biased. A teacher
He should never
can never be unjust. And above all, you have to, give preference to the interest of your organization over your personal interests. You see, if at weekend some student is approaching you and trying to get some guidance, you should be ready to give some time to that student.
True.
And in Lahore Garrison University here, we are trying to adhere to all these things. But by and large, as you said, that the education is now becoming a great business and all that. But there is another aspect also. You see, how many students they want to go to, they want to get higher education, and how many universities do you have? How many public sector universities do you have? I share with you, still there are so many students who wants to pursue their higher educations, but they are unable to get admission. Still there is so much gap, gap there. Because, a student who is not put in the higher education, what he is going to do, what he is going to contribute in this nation, he would be joining some organization as a clerk or something like that, till the time he is not equipped with the higher education. So these institutions, in exact way, is contributing. Though, yes, there may be certain institutions which perhaps would be having the mission of money-making sort of thing, but it's not true for all. And if such type of institutions are there, what I personally believe, the Higher Education Commission has a constant check, and they would try to intervene, and they would try to find out, and they have already done with so many institutions.
That's great.
So many illegal campuses, they were closed, and then they have, certain visits of different universities where they carry out all the checking on the instructions which they have given to the institutions, whether they are implementing it or not.
Great.
But at the same time, they give you autonomy, certain autonomy, that these are the guidelines, and then you should make your own statutes, make your own policies, and go ahead. But they constantly supervise you, they constantly have a look on you, and they keep on monitoring you.
That's great.
If some universities are not adhering to those things, the proper actions are taken against them.
Yeah, that's great. Sir, I must appreciate, and I must say hats off to Lahore Garrison University if they are conducting these trainings during the off session. I have been the part of one organization that was also like a top-notch institution of Pakistan. I've been the part of that organization for a long time. I have seen that over there the teachers means, when there is an off time, it's a break for them. They do not work for their self-grooming, for their professional grooming and all. And if LGU is doing that, just as you said, it's a marvelous step that you're doing for this profession. And I mean, this thing definitely would be visible in the students, I mean, very clearly. One more thing, sir, just tell me, what is the importance of communication? I mean, how do you see that? Because I see it, students who have passed their degrees, I mean, the whole of the education system is based on the reading and writing. Speaking is somehow missing. I mean, when they have to present themselves in front of public or might be even in an interview, they are a bit, I mean, nervous. They do not have that confidence level. What do you think is the importance, and how exactly are you guys dealing with the communication skills over here in LGU?
No, every passed out student is not of the same caliber.
True.
This is a fact. You know, Mr. Babar Ali, a great intellect, now at the age of 95 perhaps, I happened to listen him in my university. And one of our faculty member asked question that how we can grade an higher education institution, whether it is good, bad or excellent. So he replied, he said, look, the quality of university or the ranking of any university depends upon the quality of its teachers, the quality of its research which they are taking, and the quality of the student. You know, these three factors, they collectively make a ranking of any higher education institution. You know, the communication skills gap that you were talking about. Now, once we talk about the admissions of the students in universities, you know, after FSC they are coming to us, or after FA they are coming to us. They are coming from 2, 3, 4 different education systems.
Yeah, true.
All right. And you know, these are 4, 5 different systems.
Yeah, might be more than that.
You know, one of the systems, they pay more attention towards communication skills, both in writing and you know, speaking.
Other
The
system has
other
no concern.
system, even the students are coming from different madaris and quite a large number of students. So these things they carry with them. Now, it is the responsibility of the institution where they are commissioned, they are got admission, that they should identify that the students are lacking in communication skills, either verbal or written, and they should try to improve them. But by the end of the day, you see a student coming from an institution at you know, secondary level, where there was medium of teaching English. At the time of passing out as a undergrad, he'll be fluent in English, and the person to whom we have taught about different teaching communication skills, even at that stage, he will not be able to compete there. But on the other hand, a very small number of students, they cross this barrier and they can reach to that standard which the other student was having. So this is a dilemma. As I earlier said, as the Higher Education Commission has formulated the undergrad policy, they will formulate the secondary school level policy and primary, and then once they are dovetailed, you know, then a uniform system can be brought.
True.
So it's like that, but it is must. The communication skills, you know, you are doing any job, whether you are a laborer, whether you are a teacher, you
Doctor,
are
engineer,
anything,
lawyer, anything,
you need, if you are having bad communication skills, you can never be a good employee.
True.
How you can't communicate with somebody effectively. So no use of you, I say.
True.
So it's like that.
Yeah, I also take it like I was once giving an example that you make the world's best product and you keep that in the room and do not market it, it's going to be waste. Nobody's going to buy that.
Yes.
You make the world's worst product and you market it, it's going to be a huge, business and all.
Yes. Yes.
Communication if we are talking about individual, communication plays the market role for the product. I mean, you have all the knowledge in your mindset. You are a groomed product right now, and if you are unable to market that using your communication, verbal, writing, non-verbal, and all, it's all going to be in waste. Well, sir, thank you so very much for your time.
No,
And
it's
trust me,
great
it was
for-
such an honor and lovely listening to you. And you gave me and also to the viewer a lot of exposure that I believe which we were not having earlier. Thank you so very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Stay
Thank you
blessed.
very much.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.